Hey everybody, and welcome to the EchoStor Microsoft Minute. My name is Steve Caprio, and I'm joined, as always, by Chuck Salvo. Today, a little behind the scenes, actually, we recorded a similar session last week, and were immediately met with updated information from Microsoft about more adoption of this topic in particular. So this is a re-record. But today we're going to be talking about the Model Context Protocol, an open source framework that was developed by the folks over at Anthropic, and how it's become a standard in the AI space here, and how Microsoft started to roll this out and adopted it. The news last week that prompted the re-record was that Copilot Studio now supports Model Context Protocol, whereas previously we were looking at things like just in OpenAI and Azure OpenAI and those types of solutions. So want to get a session together, Chuck, for us to talk about what MCP is, first of all, why we think it's important, and how it fits in the Microsoft space here, and how it's going to make people's lives easier. So, Chuck, I know you had some content to be talking about and sharing today, so why don't we get started there?
Awesome. So let me share my screen and let's start talking through this. So first off, what is MCP and why are people super excited about this? So MCP is Model Context Protocol, and really the idea behind it is to create a single standard for your ability to hook up data sources, whatever it is, into AI. So right now you've seen a lot of excitement around agents, right? Everyone's talking about agentic workflows and whatnot. And what is an agent versus AI, right? Basically, an agent is functions, the ability to do things, right? For an LLM AI to make a call to a database, to a website, to whatever it is. Now with MCP, we have the ability to basically bring these tools into our agents without any real having to write custom code for each single thing. So it's really what it's being referred to as this USB adapter, right? So there's an article from Microsoft right there about MCP. And you'll see over here, this is the continuing theme, right? Is a virtual software version of USB-C for AI. So basically it's a standard way for large language models to interact with tools, promoting interoperability. So what is it? You basically have a host, a client, and a server. So it's client-server architecture, right? So when you look at it, back to this diagram over here, your AI application is consuming, it is a client of an MCP server. So rather than connecting directly to the database, which we would have done, we would have wrote Azure functions and tools to connect to a database. Now I can use an MCP server to describe what tools are available, what data is available, so on and so forth. And I can do that with any type of system. Right, it creates a standard. Now I can hook these things in, and I'm off and running to the races. So like you'd mentioned, what happened? We were recording this, and it'd be great if there was more stuff from Microsoft about MCP, and literally, you can see it published the 19th, 2025. So minutes after we finish recording, this gets pushed out there. So again, this adoption is happening really fast. I've never seen a protocol get published and then picked up across the spectrum of developers and vendors and whatnot. At this speed, it's crazy because people realize this is a problem, then this is a great solution for it. So again, Microsoft's got their implementation of MCP over here. The big thing here is when you look at it, it's really creating a custom connector that links your Copilot Studio environment to the model or data source. So they're using their existing custom connector technology to allow you to consume an MCP server. And there's a lot of them, right? There's a lot of them out there already. So if I go over here to GitHub, this is the Model Context Protocol, right? And this is basically, these are just reference servers. So you'll see there's a list of them over here that you can go to this site, download the repo, get it up and running, right? There's Postgres, you'll see Puppeteer, browser automation. What else is Slack in here, SQLite, AWS KB retrieval. So these things are already ready to go. You can basically go download those, get them up and running, and have that MCP server being front-ended and then being able to be brought into Copilot. Now, if you look at third-party servers, right, huge pile, right? Again, these are all out there already, and there's community servers as well. Another huge list of community servers out there that you can go and use, get up and running, and integrate into Copilot Studio or Azure AI Foundry, right? So again, from Microsoft 21st, introducing MCP, create an MCP server with Azure AI agent service. So you've got a lot of options out there to go out there and basically create your own server and really bring your data into Copilot Studio, right? Bring your SQL server in, have it be able to describe tables and schema, and be able to have the agent basically make queries based on the information that's available. Same thing about your file system. So I've got a nice little demo over here of how easily can you build this. So over here, I've got Claude, and I basically gave it the MCP docs, right, and the Python README. And I said, all right, build me an MCP server that connects to my PostgreSQL database, exposes table schemas, provides tools, and includes prompts for common data analysis. And lo and behold, we are off and running. So if you think about it, you're using AI to build tools to help AI interact with data. And I'll just scroll down to the end, but there you go. We're off and running, right? And what's great about this, when you look at this, run the server, mcp.run. It's that simple. Basically, it's creating an HTTPS interface for you to be able to communicate with the tool set that you're exposing underneath. So, yeah.
I think that's probably, too, the thing you talked about with adoption and how quickly this got picked up is that you could tell that was I know for you, even on a couple of projects I know you're working on right now, this would have, if it goes further than this, it would create less friction in adopting some of the things, less customization of API calls or different things or functions that you're having to do to connect these sources together. And I think that speaks a lot to, this was a big missing piece of being able to easily work your way around an AI project or an agent that you were trying to build that needed multiple data inputs. So the friction, reducing the friction for developers or other people who are focused on these projects is a huge reason why this took off the way that it did.
Yeah, again, giving that agent those quote unquote hands, the ability to call these type of APIs through a simple unified interface is going to drastically improve the ability for agents to get stuff done. Right. And again, we saw that huge catalog. So it's only a matter of time before the agents can just go out there and be like, hey, I need an MCP server to do X, Y, and Z. The agent spins it up, gets it up and running. And then next, the agent now has the ability to do more features, more functionality. So definitely a game changer from a creation perspective on the AI side. And it is open source, right? So no matter what your development platform is, MCP is going to help you if you're doing AI. But again, Microsoft, right at the forefront of this, making sure that these tools are ready and available and can be integrated into your solutions right now.
Yeah. With regards to what's happening on the Microsoft side and this being pushed further and further, where do you think Copilot Studio is the immediate place customers should maybe get a chance to play around with this, being that it's the most approachable compared to Azure OpenAI or AI Foundry? Or are there specific areas where you think people should be focused on trying to figure out how this impacts some of the AI stuff that they have going on today?
I think at that point, it's really what your developmental skill capability is. If you're a Python developer, you understand what's going on, you understand OpenAI a little bit deeper, yeah, you're going to want to go the Foundry route. But if you are Copilot Studio, you're a low-code, no-code solution, you're just working with Copilot Studio, integrating external data sources, now's your time to look at this. You still might need a developer to spin up an MCP server for you, but now you get an easier way for you to work together. And again, through the connector capability inside of Copilot Studio, it's really just publishing up a Swagger, getting the custom connector up and running. Shouldn't take you more than 10, 15 minutes, assuming you get a good, clean API defined.
Yeah, I think the only thing I see is the implementation challenge or adoption here is just around the security stuff. It supports all of the authentication controls and role-based access control and those types of things, but having all that stuff in place, knowing that now you're going to be more freely connecting all of these different data sources would be the thing I would pay close attention to as you start to roll something out like this. As always, if there are challenges that you face there across any of this, we'd love to help you get our customers or new customers approach these things with a measure of excitement, but also the right measure of how do I secure these and govern them appropriately.
Absolutely, right? You're publishing APIs, how's it going to be protected, what's your token strategy, all these different things. It's nice to get it up and running, but to make it keep running and be safe and secure, it takes a lot more work. So definitely thought that we can help you out.
All right. So I'm glad we were able to re-record this session, include a lot more awesome content that Microsoft announced very shortly after ours. We were very excited about it when we just saw any of it be adopted on the Microsoft side. So think Chuck and I might do a follow-on session with this as some of this stuff develops. But again, if you guys are excited about this and want to learn a little bit more, feel free to reach out to us. And we'll have a few more sessions coming up here in the short term on other topics. But thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you guys soon.